Good morning and happy Friday. Let me just tell you, I have to laugh at myself because this week has been an absolutely crazy, crazy week. It has been busy. I have been moving and shaking. Really, really need to sit down for a second. So I am going to do my best to make it through today. But before we begin, I know you're wondering what's going on here with the Charlie Brown shirt and whatnot. Well, those of you who know me know that I have three children. My oldest is 31, who happens to have autism, and she still loves, loves, loves things like this. So we found this sweatshirt that actually has our African American young men on here from Charlie Brown, which is very rare to find any place. So she has one, I have one, and today we are repping this sweatshirt today for that beautiful girl of mine, Sierra. All right. Thing number two that is going on today. I decided to wear my hair in a ponytail today. I know this is more than you ever care to know, but we're telling it anyway. I'm outside, wind is blowing, and let me just tell you, ponytail was almost out of here. But here we are. We made it safe and sound right here for you so we can get this episode going. What we're going to do today is we're going to pick up a little bit where we left off last week. Last week, we talked about something that I call the free ish. Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit more about what people are saying. After that episode, of course, I was contacted by a number of people asking different questions, wanting to know more about the free ish for me. And then they wanted me to talk a little bit more about some questions that people might be asking themselves. So, the thing that I want to add for me that I did not add last week, I need you to know that the one thing that was not on my list, have no idea how I left this off. A free ish for me is he must absolutely be God fearing. No idea how that was left off the list. However, gotta have that. He must know the Lord. If he is the man for me, that needs to be added to those list of things that I shared with you last week. So let's talk about something. I had someone reach out to me, and I'm going to read a little bit of what was said. It was a conversation that this gentleman had with a young lady, which kind of piggybacks off of the free ish from last week because they're talking about what people bring to the table. And that's one of those other questions that for me kind of leads back to episode about the low value and how we're not going to be using that term anymore for our men. So here's what he said. He said that he was talking to a young lady and the subject came up, what does a person bring to the table? And he told her that he brings love and peace. Now get this. She was perplexed. She asked if he would explain because for her, listen to this, for her, love and peace, that is absolutely not enough. Kind of tickled me because guess what that falls under for me? The free ish. That's where it falls. So he explained to her, he said, love is more valuable than money. And so is peace. He said also that financially peaceful relationships can be beautiful and oftentimes are. But should finances be the root of the relationship, the foundation of the relationship? He went on to say that he brings the basic needs to her life. Okay? He also said, and this is what got me, he said that only toxic men or women will base things on finances, and that they often bring in their past experiences. And this one really got me. He feels that that's using people. That if you are looking to know what he brings to the table, he brings love and peace. And with that love and peace comes all of those things that fall under that free-ish category. Because he's going to take up the slack. He is going to fill in the blanks. For whatever she needs, he is going to bring that. And that he hopes that the two of them will be able to decide what a relationship looks like. So when they sit down and talk about what someone brings to the table, he also says he wants to bring the free-ish first, because for him, he's financially stable, but he wants to know that the lady will want to be with him for him, not his wallet, not the bank account, the credit cards, the house, the cars, all of these other things. He wants to know that if he can provide the love and the peace for her first, would that be enough? And I was reading that thinking, wow, finally someone is saying, hey, I too want to bring the free-ish, but it sounds like that's not enough for some people. So we came up with some questions. Well, we being me, because I want to ask the ladies, when the man says, I have the basics, and in this case, this man has much more than the basics, but he doesn't want to be used. I can understand that. I'm sure you can as well. Because again, we do not need to be looking at the pockets of the person, of the man, of the woman. What about the character? What about those basics? Again, we keep going back to that because we seem to have trouble getting beyond that part. We keep looking at the material things. So here are the questions that I think that before we start saying, I'm going to be in a relationship with someone, or I'm going to have a partner, or I want this, or I want that, here's some questions I think you need to ask yourself. Particularly in ladies, I know this is week number 2 that you might be a little bit upset with me, but let's ask these questions. And men, if this applies to you, same question in reverse. So let's start here. Why do you think a man has to pay all of your bills? Because this also came up when we were talking about what do you bring to the table. Many of the ladies said, well, he needs to come prepared, and I'm doing the next, sorry. He needs to come prepared to pay my bills. Let's hold that thought. Why does he have to make 6 figures? What about his bank account should be required for usage by you to enter a new relationship? Okay? Remember, these are questions that we're going to ponder, things that we probably need to think about as we're looking at trying to understand the happy medium for entering relationships without, and I'm saying this again, without requiring all of these material things. Why does his house need to be in the fanciest of neighborhoods, or such a big home to house whomever? You, your family, his family, whomever. Why is that a requirement? Why does he have to drive a car that has a payment? Get this, because this came up as well. Why does his car that he drives has to have such a payment that is almost as much as a mortgage. And what they meant by that is, why does it have to be the fanciest of cars? Why does a car has to be so expensive for you to consider even going on a date with him? Questions to ponder. So these are questions that we would like for the ladies to think about. And ladies, I know, I'm asking a lot of you. And you're probably saying, why aren't you asking the men these things? Well, actually, I am, because when you think about each of those questions that we want to ponder for this week, we would need to ask men some of the same questions in reverse. However, the reason that it's being asked more of the ladies here recently is because social media is blowing up with many of us ladies, excluding some of us like me, who are saying that it's the material stuff. It's the money, it's the cars, it's the houses, it's all of these things that are needed before they would even consider a date. And I find that, for me, interesting. It doesn't fit my philosophy, but it does for others. And I can understand if that's your choice, that's your choice. As my grandmother used to say, whatever floats your boat, that is what floats your boat. I challenge us, though. I challenge all of us, men and women both, to look at the character. I keep going back to that. I keep going back to it, and I'm going to keep saying it. I challenge you to look at the character of the person. I really want you to take the time to say, well, wow, what if he has this astronomical vision that when we start to date and we're supporting each other, that vision takes off. And before you know it, we've dated for a week, a month, 6 months, a year. We're 18 months in, and all of those material things that you thought he needed at the very beginning didn't matter. However, what if during that 18 months or even less, that vision that he had, that you supported with him, brought about every one of those things that you thought you wanted or you thought you needed him to have? They showed up. They were manifested because he believed in his dream. You believed in that dream, in that vision. You supported it. And now the two of you are living this life together that you thought he needed to have before you ever went on that first date with him. I would much rather have a hardworking man with a vision than one who chooses not to work, because there are some out there that way who choose not to work, who are healthy but choose not to, and also don't have a vision. Because if you will get up and work every day, you are working towards a goal, and you have a vision. I have goals. I have visions. Might not be where he wants them to be, but check this out. What if he supported those goals? What if he supported my vision? And somewhere down the road, oh my God, everything that I could have ever wanted comes to life. And he's there with me. We both benefit. And that is where I think that we have to remember. We have to remember that material things come and go, just like money in bank accounts. You just don't know what's going to happen one day to the next. But what I know for a fact is, whoever it is that's standing beside me, on my front or my back or wherever it is, whoever it is that is my rock. What I need more than anything is that support, that encouragement, the love, because we keep forgetting about that. Everybody's talking about all this other stuff. Nobody is talking about love. Nobody. One of the other things I keep hearing people also mention is the physical a part of a relationship. I'm not saying that's not important. Not saying that at all. Because it should be in a loving, healthy relationship. That's important as well. But I need us to focus on the person as a whole, the relationship as a whole. And I need us to remember where it is that we're trying to go. Are you going there with somebody who is helping you build, helping you with that foundation? I know you're tired of hearing it. You're tired of hearing it. But guess what? That's okay as well. Let's remember some things. Some people are going to come with everything that you think they should have. Others are not. So all I'm saying to you is this. Do not discount or count those others out who do not check every little box that you think they should check. Because remember, today is a temporary space for where it is that they are in their lives. Let's not judge them on that moment. And the very last thing I want to ask you before I leave here today is this. Before you judge them, take a good long look at yourself and ask yourself, are you where you want to be? And if you were the other person, would you want to date you? That's it for us today. Think about those questions. We'll pick up next week. Happy Friday.